Question number 5. This question is about electrolysis. A student investigates the mass of copper produced during electrolysis of copper chloride solution. The figure number 12 shows the apparatus. Here in the apparatus, we know that the inert carbon electrodes are given, copper chloride solution is given, and DC power supply is given here. The copper chloride has a formula CuCl2. When it makes a solution, it splits up into Cu2 plus and Cl1 minus. Similarly, the water molecule is also dissociates into H plus and OH negative. So in the solution, we have couple of ions present there, copper ions, chloride ions, hydrogen ion and hydroxide ions. They are present in the copper chloride solution. Five point one is an AO2 question. The student need to use the information given here in electrolysis. Which gas is produced at the positive electrode means anode. This is anode. We can see that it is positive, so the negative ions are moving toward anode. Cl negative will move towards anode, and OH negative is carrying negative charge. It also moves towards the positive anode. Now the questions come here, which gas is coming at the positive anode? The student needs to remember a rule. If any of the group 7 element is present there, mean halide ions are present, they will oxidize first by losing the electron. So Cl negative or OH negative, the Cl negative is going to lose the electron first. And losing the electron is called oxidation. So the halide ion in the group 7 element ion, they will come to anode first. So Cl negative will go to anode, it will lose the electron and become chlorine atom. And two chlorine atoms, they combine together and make the chlorine molecule. So the gas is formed at anode is chlorine. 5.2, which is an AO2 question, and it is from electrolysis of aqueous solution. Copper is produced at the negative electrode, which is called cathode. Why does this tell you about the reactivity of copper? Tick one box from these options. Here is my reactivity table is given, and I already highlighted here the hydrogen and copper. The questions come here, why do we need to highlight hydrogen and copper? If you go back to my diagram, which I elaborated my diagram, here copper has positive charge and hydrogen has positive charge. Both will move towards the negative electrode, which is called cathode. So hydrogen will move towards cathode, and copper ions, they will also move towards cathode. Who is going to take the electron first? or who will reduce first by gaining the electron? We have to decide between the hydrogen ion and the copper ion. To understand this point, we will use this table. In my reactivity series table, copper is less reactive than hydrogen. So in electrolysis, if anything is less reactive than hydrogen, that will go towards cathode first and gain the electron. Hydrogen is more reactive, copper is less reactive, so copper will go towards cathode to gain the electron. So our correct option is copper is less reactive than hydrogen. Copper is less reactive than oxygen. So that option is not given in my reactivity series table. Copper is more reactive than carbon. That option is not given here because carbon is more reactive than copper. Copper is more reactive than chlorine. So this option is not given in my reactivity series table. Copper is carrying positive charge and chloride ion is carrying negative charge. So there is no point to consider the last point. So the correct option is copper is less reactive than hydrogen. Table number 4 shows the students' results. Total mass of copper produced in milligrams. Times in minutes. 1, 2, 4 and 5. 3 is missing. Experiment number 1, the mass produced. Experiment number 2, the mass produced. Experiment number 3, the mass produced. And the mean mass of each time is given here. This topic is again from electrolysis of aqueous solution. Is an AO3 question. The student needs to use his knowledge and needs to investigate this experiment and find the mean value. The question is in 5.3. 5.3 is an AO3 question and it is from electrolysis of aqueous solution. Calculate the mean mass of copper produced after 3 minutes. So after 3 minutes, it means that the 3 is not given here and 3 is after 2 and before 4. So we need to take the mean value of the mass produced at 2 minutes and mass produced at 4 minutes. So we will take the mean value, that is 1.20 plus 2.40 divided by 2, and that is 1.8 milligram of copper is produced after 3 minutes. The correct answer is 1.8. 5.4 is an AO2 question. Calculate the mass X of copper produced in experiment 2 after 5 minutes. It's from the same topic, electrolysis of aqueous solution. Use the table number 4 on page number 19. So in this question, we need to find the value X in table number 4. In table number 4, the mean value is given here. And from here, in mathematical calculation, this X is missing. So we will use the mean value to find the value of X. So the mean formula is the sum of all values 3.02 plus x plus 3.01. Our number of terms or number of values, so there are three values here: experiment number 1, experiment number 2 and experiment number 3. So it is 3 and the mean value is 3.06. We need to rearrange these values. So this 3 will go on the other side to make x my subject. 3.02 plus x 3.01. This 3 will go on the other side. 3 times 3.06. When we solve these values, my x is 3.15. So 3.15 is value of x in experiment number 2 when we are calculating for time in 5 minutes. Five point five. It is an AO2 question. 5.5 is an AO2 question. The copper chloride solution used in the investigation contained 300 grams in 1 dm cube of solid CuCl2 dissolved in 1 dm cube of water. So actually the question is that 300 grams of the solid copper chloride is dissolved in 1 dm cube of water. The student used 50 cm cube of copper chloride solution in each experiment. You can see the units here. It is dm cube and here the units are used, that is cm cube. First of all, we need to change the units. Because my values are given here 300 grams per dm cube. So first of all, the student needs to convert 50 cm cube into dm cube to get 1 mark. The given is concentration 300 gram per dm cube, where the volume is given 50 cm cube. We need to convert cm cube into dm cube. The relation is 1 dm cube is equal to 1000 cm cube. Therefore, 50 cm cube mean we need to divide by 1000 to convert cm cube into dm cube. And the volume is 0.05 dm cube. The student will get 1 mark here. Now the students use ratio and proportion method, which is comparatively easy for the students, between the volume and the mass. The question is, calculate the mass of solid sodium chloride used in each experiment. So we need to find the mass which is used in 50 cm cube solution. So we are going to use ratio and proportion method. The quantities are the volume and the mass of the copper chloride dissolved. We will use this information first, that 300 gram is dissolved in 1 dm cube volume of the solution. So we use of 1 dm cube, we have 300 grams. The other volume which is given here, that is 0.05. So 0.05 dm cube, and how much mass is going to dissolve in 50 cm cube, that is unknown. So that unknown, I will use it as an x. So this x is going to multiply this side, and 0.05 is going to multiply with 300. So x is equal to 15 grams. Question number 6. The question is about sodium and chlorine. Figure number 13 shows the position of sodium and chlorine in the periodic table. Sodium is here and chlorine gas is here. It belongs to group number 1 and chlorine belongs to group number 7. (6a) is an AO2 question, and this question is from the topic of periodic table and electronic structure. State one difference and one similarity in the electronic structure of sodium and chlorine. If we look here in our model answer, sodium belongs to group number 1. If it belongs to group number 1, so it has 1 electron in its outermost shell. Whereas chlorine belongs to group number 7. So it has 7 electrons in its outermost shell. Now we have to see the similarity. If you look here, both are in the same row. So this is my period number 1, period number 2, period number 3. So sodium and chlorine both are in period number 3. Period number 3 means both of them have 3 shells or 3 electronic shells. So that is a similarity between them. So both sodium and chlorine are in the same period, period number 3. So both have 3 electronic shells. Student can use this option for similarity, or even they can write this one to get 1 mark. (6.2) is an AO1 question, and this question is from ionic bonding. Sodium atoms react with chlorine atoms to produce sodium chloride, NaCl. Describe what happens when a sodium atom reacts with a chlorine atom. Write down electron transfer in your answer. We know that sodium belongs to group number 1. It has 1 electron in its outermost shell. And chlorine belongs to group number 7, and it has 7 electrons in its outermost shell. This sodium will lose 1 electron, and it changes from sodium to sodium ion after losing 1 electron. Whereas chlorine will take 1 electron and become negative ion, Cl negative. So the positive sodium and negative chloride ion, so they will attract each other. A strong force develops between sodium ion and chloride ion, and it brings them closer to each other, and a strong bond forms between sodium ion and chloride ion, which is called ionic bonding. Let's see our model answer. Sodium has electronic structure Na 11 and 23. 23 is relative atomic mass or the mass number. So if we look here electronic structure for our model answer, 11, 2 in the first shell, 8 in the second shell, and out of 11 1 electron will left in the third shell. Chlorine atomic number 17, mass number 35.5, belongs to group number 7. So electronic configuration is 2, 8 and 7. 2 in the first shell, 8 electrons are coming in second shell, and 7 electrons are coming in the third shell. Sodium has 1 electron in its outermost shell and will lose its outermost electron and become sodium ion Na+. The student will get 1 mark here and 1 mark for mentioning of the positive ion. Chlorine has 7 electrons in its outermost shell because it belongs to group number 7. Sodium loses 1 electron and chlorine is ready to take 1 electron from sodium and become Cl negative. So 1 mark is here and 1 mark for chloride ion. 6.3 is an AO1 question. The reaction between sodium and chlorine is an exothermic reaction. So heat is produced and released into the surrounding. So this question is actually about the reaction profile. When we say about the reaction profile, so it means we have to mention here the way the reactants are, where the products are formed, and is energy is released or energy is gained from the surrounding. Complete the reaction profile for the reaction between sodium and chlorine. So it is an exothermic reaction, so the products are formed at relatively low energy because most of the energy is released into the surrounding. The reaction profile is start from the reactants and ends at the product. It's a 2 mark question, so we need to mention about the product here. The student need to draw this graph to get 1 mark and mentioning where the products are. It is an exothermic reaction, therefore the products are formed at relatively low energy to get full 2 marks.